hearing, but because it's minor change, it's a very brief hearing, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Jordan to share, and I'll get out of the way.
So throughout the year, sometimes we run into different items that get approached either to the high school or to other schools where it calls for us to take a look at the code of conduct. And this particular item that came up, it actually came from the high school here, where what they have seen is an increase or beginning to see a use of nicotine pouches within the student body here in Hamburg High School. It is an item that many say, well, is it nicotine pouches like chewing tobacco or whatever that we're used to hearing about and seeing about. And it is clearly defined by the manufacturer that nicotine pouches do not contain tobacco. And then we started to reach out and have other conversations with the high school to really clearly understand what they're actually seeing, right? So nicotine pouches, like a chewing tobacco pouch, where they're putting it in their mouth and they're seeing the kids spit. But our code of conduct doesn't address nicotine pouches. It addresses tobacco use or alcohol or other smoking material. This is a very defined item because it clearly states that it is not a tobacco product. And the manufacturer, Zyn, is the one that we're seeing the most commonly used in the amongst the students. They even know that it doesn't qualify as a tobacco item. So obviously this calls for us to take a look at the code of conduct to see where it can be addressed. So where we're looking to make some adjustments today on the district code of conduct would be under definitions, under illegal drugs, we add nicotine where we list out every other item as well too. It was also recommended that we address the dress code, right? So we want to make sure that kids aren't wearing, or students are not wearing, or other people are not wearing, the Zyn product, making sure that we're very clear that it is a nicotine item. So those are two items that we're looking to have adjusted in the code of conduct. Here, this is just under the prohibited student conduct, right? So it's a lot, you will see there's a long list of items already currently in there that we have. And then in bold, we're adding nicotine products under a prohibited item in school. It's on page 20. And then the next one really is, again, adding to conduct on school property, right? So we have e-cigarettes, we have smoking, we have use of tobacco. It would only be natural to add nicotine products or nicotine products pouches for prohibited use on school property as well too.
And Brian, when you said it was recommended to do it like that, recommended by our school attorney. So we work with our school attorney on this stuff too, to make sure that we're putting the code of conduct makes sense in terms of what's best practice and what's legally recommended and required with respect to making a change to a code of conduct and having stuff in it that makes sense.
So our next steps here will be is if the board approves the changes that we're recommending tonight, we would then work immediately with the high school staff to start to address their code of conduct and then share that with all the families as well too. We'd look at the middle school and then going on down where we felt we needed to address it would be to hit the building code of conduct. Remember, each code of conduct that exists within students, right, is more student focused. Student language is used, so we want to make sure we're making the correct adjustments in those code of conducts as well too. So we would do that realistically tomorrow. I think Mr. Crane and I have already had conversations that we're ready to go with the high school because that's the biggest one that it's impacting currently.
So just for clarification, school property includes the buses, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And school functions, so if
Yep.
you're on a field trip, you can't throw a pouch in because you're at the art gallery.
Proms, dances that we don't hold on school property, we hold in places that all falls under school.
Good. Okay. Any other questions at the board table? Okay. It's a public hearing, so any other questions from the public or comments? All right, seeing no further business, I will look for a motion to adjourn this public hearing at 6:26.
So moved.
Moved by Dave, second by Ashley. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Public hearing is adjourned. Unfortunately, we can't start till 6:30, so everyone can sit tight for 3 minutes.
Sitting into
Yeah.
You don't want shattered gavels right there. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Feels weird not doing the pledge, but we just did the pledge. If you arrive late, I trust you'll do the pledge on your own later. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda for the October 8th Board of Education meeting as presented?
So
moved. So moved by Ashley, second by Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is in session. So first item is, I'll pass to Mr. Cornell.
Yes, sir. So we have a couple of different presentations that we do with great pleasure. One we do every year. One we probably should have done 5 other times and didn't, so we're going to do it tonight. First is School Board Appreciation. This Board of Education for a decade has been focused on nothing but the learning and growth of kids. That's why we've been so successful together for a really long time. We are really partners in leadership in all that we do, and that's the only way it ever works, is when we do that work together. And whether it's science of reading, youth mental health first aid, program development, we've done it all together and done it with nothing but the best interest of the school district in mind. So I think that's important. This is the last time we get to do this. Also, and just personally, I've always been grateful for the trust and confidence that this board has placed in me as superintendent, and I've never taken it for granted. So I just want to say that on a personal note. So we have for you a certificate for each of you that recognizes your contributions as members of the board, and then you also get a $25 gift card to the school store, so you can buy some Bulldog gear. So that's what we have for you. We've done different things over the years, so this is what we have for this year. So I'll start. Do ladies first. So first, one of our new board members, Ashley Repsinski. There you go. Actually, I'm going to read it so you see what it says. They all say the same thing. This is for Ashley in recognition of Board Appreciation Month, reference at making the Hamburg Central School District a great place to create, care, solve, and discover. The HCSD community is grateful for her service on the Board of Education. So thank you very much for serving.
you.
You're welcome. And our second new board member, Mary Odden, thank you very much for serving. And Rich Schneider, this is your, I think, 3rd term, something like that. You've been with us for a long time. Thank you very much. Dave Uvine's been here longer than we can count.
Right.
And our board vice president, serving as president tonight, Kim Hall. Okay, so next we have, so I'm going to ask Mrs. Lango, I saw her walk in, and Ashley, who is the Charlotte Avenue VP for Charlotte, to join me. So Charlotte Avenue for the, how many times?
This is our 10th year.
10th
But
year.
it's 5 times in a row because you get it for 2 years.
So 5 consecutive times 2,
Yep,
and they are a PTSA National School of Excellence.
correct.
Which is a really, there's 356 schools, I think, in the country that get it. I looked it up. And the other thing I wanted to do, I was going to print it, but Mr. Jordan shut down printing in the district this afternoon. So I was not able to print it, so I had to write it. So this is what the program is designed for. Identify best practices in family engagement, check for Charlotte Avenue. Build inclusive and welcoming school communities, check. Attract new members, they do a great job of that. Providing network opportunities for families, check. They do all that stuff really well. And they've done it really well for a long time. And there's been lots of amazing PTA folks who have come in and out over the years. The constant event, Mrs. Lango, she's done a great job of cultivating those family relationships over many years. So, you know, and 10 years is a long time to do that work and do it so well. There's lots of other PTA folks here too. So this is a reflection of the amazing PTA work that happens all across the district. So it's really an honor to be able to stand here and do this. So I'm gonna read the certificate for you. It says, certificate of recognition presented to Charlotte Avenue Elementary PTSA for being designated as a 2023-2025 National PTA School of Excellence in honor of their efforts in building effective family and school partnership, signed by me and by Cam on behalf of the board. So congratulations.
Thank you to all our Charlotte Ave and PTSA people out there too.
You all set?
I'm good. That's all I got for now. I'll be
Okay.
back. I'll be back.
Yeah, you'll be back. So that moves us on to section C, information. We have board briefings, information on future Board of Ed meetings. So we'll be at Boston Valley on November 12th and at Armour on December 10th. There's a lot of NYSBA ECASB meetings. I'll be attending the Rick Timms. I don't know if anyone else going to Rick Timms. You going, Dave? All right, we'll sit together. A lot of, oh, Mary, you've got the NYSBA vote this Thursday, right?
Heck
So,
yeah.
Otherwise, everybody can see. So we have some budget transfers and then board committee reports. So do you want to, we'll start with our student representative.
Yes, so as you guys know, we just had homecoming, so that was fun. We had Spirit Week, and we started Wednesday with our pep rally. I was on the pep rally committee, and if I do say so myself, it was pretty successful. And then Friday we had float making during the day at the fire hall, and freshmen won, unfortunately, but like good for them, they deserve it. They put in a lot of work, and their float was amazing. And then juniors got second. And then we had the parade that night, and it did rain, but it was fun. Like it was a good parade. And then we had the game, and the snack shack did good. We were really busy. And then we had the dance the next day, and that was really fun too. We sold 106 tickets, so it was a good turnout.
Great.
But
What a game.
yeah,
What a
Really
bummer of an
close.
ending. What a game, though.
that's it from me.
Thank you.
Well, as I will go into further detail later, I didn't have any transportation meetings, didn't have any tech meetings, but there will be a big annual business meeting for NYSBA. NYSBA, sorry, I've got a lot of acronyms floating around.
There's the National School Boards Association, which is NYSBA.
Yeah, so that's going to be on Thursday, and I'm a delegate that represents our school district, and I will be voting on our behalf of our district. And before that, there was a question and answer that was an hour long, and there was also an orientation that was an hour long, so I'm prepared. And I have also read about all the resolutions, and I'm going to get to that later. But I'm also going to take this time just to let everyone know that the Union Pleasant bike bus inaugural run was yesterday, and we had 2 students in it, but that's better than no students and their parents, so it was a success, and I'm happy about it. So if you have elementary school students at the Union Pleasant area that want to ride bikes in a safe environment, we're going to have some more coming up.
So the idea is they get a parent escort.
They are escorted by the route leader and the caboose, and then they are also invited to join in riding with the route with their parent. Yep, and as opposed to taking the bus or being driven, so they ride in on a predetermined route at a predetermined time, and yeah,
And they
it's
just
fun.
Be outside and catch the route and go.
Catching the
slow.
route, yeah,
Good
going
idea.
slow, having a good time. Great way to start your Monday. It was awesome.
Thanks, Mary. Dave?
Erie County Association of School Boards, Richard Timms is coming up, that's the 17th. Cam and I that's a dinner, we'll be there for that. November 16th is a legislative breakfast, that's at Resurgent Brewing, and that is at 8:30. I'll be going to that. And then on November 25th is fall speedboarding, which there's still time to sign up for any board members that have not signed up. Is anybody else signed up? I didn't think so. But you'll find, it's a lot of fun, and I really think it's a great opportunity to network with other board members from across BOCES 1. So if you get a chance and you're free, that's a great, I think it's a great thing for board members. I was at the legislative team meeting, that was on the 9th. We reviewed the Bill Track 50, that is a software that you can use to track bills regarding education. I have some more information on that if you're interested, that affect anything, regarding to SED or the state agenda. I have a list of that. But most important is changing the formula for foundation aid. As Governor Hochul and state lawmakers reviewed how to allocate state aid to local school districts for the first time in many years, they're looking to revamp that formula. Over 100 advocacy groups are coalescing around a handful of key changes they'd like to see in this formula because it's outdated and incomplete to measure the needs of students in providing for high quality education. Foundation aid, which spends about $25 billion to districts. It took years to fully fund it, and Governor Hochul was the first one to finally get it and fully fund us. We all remember the GEA years, Experts have been warning that the current formula is flawed. Last time it was revised was 15 years ago. It still uses the 2000 census to calculate poverty and other statistics. As I said before, Governor Hochul tried to introduce more sweeping changes in the last budget cycle. She proposed to get rid of the provision known as hold harmless, which guaranteed that even though students' population would fall, they at least get the same amount of money. But eventually she gave up on it and was going to study the issue for another year. So she tapped the researchers at the Rockefeller Institute to release a final report by early December. So if you want to Google the Rockefeller Institute, it's very interesting. It's a think tank, and they are listening to advocacy groups and talking to other stakeholders to come up with a revision of this formula. As board members, this is what I think is most important legislative to any school district. This is what we should be advocating for. We've been talking about this for way too long. This is my 12th year as a board member. I remember hearing about it at my first board meeting. So when we talk to legislators, talk to our local officials, I think foundation aid is what is most important. Sure, we can talk about electric buses and cell phones and the tax cap and everything else, but when it comes down to it, foundation aid, I think, is what really we should be aiming for. I think we have so many asks when it comes to SED, but I think the revision of this formula is what's most important. And so that was in the legislative meeting. We went over the other bills. Most of the bills that we went over that relate to education are all sponsored by Bill Conrad, who was a teacher. Usually Karen McMahon is involved. There's a lot of them here, and I have a list. Some of them have companion bills, others don't. But in my opinion, foundation aid formula is what we should really concentrate on. So just thought I'd throw that out there. What else did I do? I attended this is the Hamburg Special Education PTSA. With Jen Barker, we refining consequences, considerations, and strategies for addressing challenging behaviors and developing emotional functional skills. So, Dr. I have his name right here, David Meichenbaum. Whatever. He is, whoever he is one of the most interesting men I've ever heard speak. I think, Jen could do this much more justice, but we had it at Union Pleasant in the Access Room, standing room only. We had people online. He could have talked all night long. It was one of the most educational and interesting talks on special education that I've ever heard. And mostly concentrating on autism, ADHD, and dyslexia, but he covered some other stuff so interesting. You wish it wouldn't have, it had to end, and he kind of had a hard stop, but we could have gone all night and nobody wanted to leave early. So I think Jen Barker and the SEPTA group deserve a lot for holding this, and they have many more events that they're going to be holding, and we'll keep you advised of that. And then I was again with Jen Barker at the Counseling Plan Advisory Council. That was a Google Meets, so it was more of an introductory on the counselors. Tina was there, and counselors, teachers. There was 2 students, and they reviewed the plans and events, for the counseling plan this year. So it's just kind of a start to the year and everything else. But again, it's such a great group of people. I just listen, that's all I can do. But it's just fantastic, and I think it's what a great group. Then lastly, I was at the PTSA high school meeting only because they meet at Pellegrino's Winery, which I also serve beer there. And so I really didn't listen to what was going on, but they're doing a lot of fundraisers, and one of the fundraisers they're doing is they're selling those Bills tickets. I think we passed out enough raffle tickets for the Bills thing, so make sure that you buy some raffle tickets, and while you're on the PTA website, you can also sign up for membership if you are not a member, and that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Dave. So I had a number of things going on. I was going to comment on homecoming. It was quite an event, start to end. AOF, so the Finance Academy, they had their mentor kickoff last week. So it's great to get that started. We usually meet here with our mentees a couple times a year. So good to get that program off the ground again for this year. The IDA continues to meet. We have a meeting tomorrow. This is budget development season for us. Still relatively slow on that front with development projects pertinent to the school for sure. But Sean, the director there, is engaged with the stadium area rezoning discussion. So again, lots happening there potentially in Hamburg with the stadium sort of starting to take shape now. We can formalize our building visitation committee, has sort of been meeting ad hoc over emails. I think we can now formalize December 6th at 9:30 for our meeting at Boston Valley. So thank you everyone for sharing your availability there. We'll walk the school and see some classrooms and see some facilities and have a good morning there. And Rick Timms, I'll be attending the Rick Timms dinner, and maybe that'll be good. Give us something to talk about at the next meeting as well. Lots of other stuff going on, but I think that's probably it, pertinent to the board. Rich?
Very quickly, we did have a safety meeting, very much the same type of theme that we go through all the time, very well attended, excellent group of people, police and fire from, every department and agency in the area attends every single meeting. I give these men and women, I tip my hat to them. They really are committed to our school district to make sure that every single building is safe for our kids, and that the employees within our district are trained properly in all the latest and greatest techniques and things for life-saving, and it's just there's a whole bunch of evacuation drills and things like that coming up, as they typically do at the beginning of the year. So you'll be seeing all those things happening, and I guess that's really about it. Not going into too much detail there, but
Okay.
Yep.
Great, I'll take over from there. I also attended PTSA. I did, we have our building visitation coming up, and Parent-Child Connection. Laura Heater and I were at that. We talked about fundraising. There will be a program coming out that I'm sure somebody talking about that? Want me to talk about that?
We can talk about it.
We have Digital Dangers coming up. That will be held on October 24th, 6 to 8 p.m. We are going to be at Armor for that. Open to everybody. Please join us if you're looking to find out more. We have some information up here, unless, Colleen, did you want to add anything about it?
No, that's perfect.
Yeah. And we'll be posting about that, I'm sure, all over the place.
Yep.
We talked about upcoming events such as possibly a fall festival, maybe doing something on anxiety in January. They do the Super Bowl in February, and just general discussion of future programming ideas. So that's all coming up. Next meeting is in November. From a PTSA standpoint, before I give any update, I know the Charlotte Avenue crew would like to get a picture with you. Can we squeeze that in real quick
This moment?
before they go?
Yeah, sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Do you guys, does anybody have to leave? I know a couple were
Just come
trying
up
to
and do
sneak
it
in and
now.
out.
Yeah, do it now. The whole meeting is really great. You'll probably love it. But
Can we sneak it
I'm
in
looking
now?
at
I'm
Jess
just
back
worried.
there. She's giving me the side eye like, no, thanks. So,
Yeah,
let's do it.
sorry, I just
let's
know
do
that
it
some
now.
of them have to go. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Sorry, guys.
What do you want as a
Announcing flow.
backdrop?
Kayla, you better get your
How do you
camera
want to
ready.
stage it?
The books. Oh, we always sit on those couches, but it's kind of dark.
Where's the stage?
What about right over there?
Yeah, we always go on the couch.
Yeah, it's great over there.
Okay, all right.
No, PTSA meetings, we got to see Max, our student rep. He was great, gave us a lot of information about homecoming, which I know already happened, but the update was fantastic. We were really looking forward to that. We also heard from each of our elementary schools, all of which hosted their fun runs or are hosting within this week. Really great turnout so far. All the kids have a ton of fun. Middle school also reported back they had a little bit of downturn in attendance at open house. So next year, attend open house because they'd love to see you. And high school, Dave mentioned fundraising's underway. Don't forget to buy your tickets. And I think that was it from me.
I
Quick
attended
update.
middle school open house. It did not feel like there was a downturn in
Oh,
attendance.
okay.
I was 20th in line at every teacher's door.
Sorry, I was
so.
just reporting back. Well, keep attending that.
I mean, it
I
could be,
love
they
it.
did a different format this year. It was more open than structured. So.
Sitting in each class for 4.5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the format better,
Oh, good.
because if there was a line, you just went somewhere else.
Maybe they just hit the rooms that didn't have lines. I don't know. Well, keep turning up.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so I guess with that, we will move to item C7, which Mary is going to facilitate a discussion. So we have the NYSBA resolutions, and the point of this discussion is to inform Mary of the board's intent around the NYSBA resolutions so that you know how to go and represent us at these votes on Thursday.
I think we're trying to pull up your info.
Oh, my cool
Graphic?
infographic. I hope so. Hope it works. I might have to do.
Brandy didn't put them in.
It's not on there.
Yeah, it's not on mine either.
Oh, no.
I would
It
print
was
it.
in an
but-
email though.
We have it in email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in your, it's in the board's emails.
It's so cool, y'all. I
It
worked
is cool.
I did look at it.
You know what we'll do? We'll link it when we send out the update to the community. We'll link it to the update so that we have it so
Right.
people can see it because it is good, I have to say.
I'm very proud of it. Well, y'all are missing a treat. Definitely 2 hours worth of work because I'm not actually very good at Canva, but I learned a lot. So if y'all pull it up in your emails and while you're working on it, one of the things that I learned in being selected as the delegate for NYSBA is And what I wanted to go over with y'all today is exactly what is it that I'm doing for this organization, and how does this organization work, and what exactly is this annual business meeting all about. And what this annual business meeting is very, no, nothing's ever simple, but it is a coming together to vote on a series of resolutions. And now the resolutions are not necessarily legal, they're not legally binding, they are not legislation. They are essentially having delegates, that's me, representatives from each of the districts of New York go and vote on how they want the New York State School Board Association, what their priorities are, so that association can represent them for the state government and basically represent them. Now, these resolutions were sent to the organization this summer, and excellent. You can see why a graph was helpful. Okay, so NISBA area representatives. There are 13 areas in New York State designated by geographical region. Then there's also a representative area called the Big Five, so that's all of the major cities of New York State. There's also a caucus of Black school board members as a cohort, and they represent the areas of NISBA. There is one representative that comprised the DEI committee, and there is a separate one representative that comprised the resolution committee. So they're all picked earlier in the year, and then one delegate is picked from each board of education. So that's me, I'm in purple, around July. You also have a board liaison and two New York State Council of
School superintendent.
School superintendent, lots of acronyms, lots of acronyms. So basically you have two separate committees that come together to look at these 37 proposed resolutions. And they're about 1 or 2 sentences long of like statements of what we think y'all should vote on, what NISBA should vote on, or should feel or oppose or not oppose or support. So basically the DEI committee provides an equity lens on each and every one of these proposals. And then they send their recommendations to the resolution committee. So there's one representative from all these areas. That resolution committee meets on August 13th to go through each one of these resolutions and decide, yeah, we oppose it, yeah, we support it, and here's the reason why. And then they write it all up, and if you scroll down a little bit, they send a very fancy book to me, the delegates, to all the delegates, called the Voting Delegates Guide of Proposed Regulations. And I got that on October 1st. It also told me, like, what's going to go on at this annual business meeting? What are all the rules? How do you do your job? And so I got an orientation, I got a big booklet, and I read through all 37 of those proposed resolutions. And the resolutions committee, how they intend to vote or not vote, and what the DEI committee thinks they should do. So there's lots of eyes that have been on this and why they think that. And then at least 200 representatives, so people like me, are going to log in on October 10th, and two big things are going to happen. First, we're all going to vote or review the procedure for how this meeting's going to go. It's very formal, very official. Then we're going to adopt the rules of the meeting, and then we're going to vote on all of those representatives for the area officials that, eventually go on to represent these committees. And then the resolution committee is going to run the rest of the meeting, and they're going to go through each one of those positions officially. They're going to first go through, debate, and vote on the expiring positions that they recommend. Those are the ones that it's like, they've been coming up every year, and we all like them, so we're going to keep proposing them. These are recommendations, not legislation, but basically positions where, yeah, we continually support these things like we do every single year. This is what NISBA is all about. We're always about this. Then we're going to go through all the proposed positions that are new, that we support. And everybody has an opportunity, all of the delegates have like I think it's only 5 minutes to debate if they want, and then they got to vote. And then we go through all the proposed positions that the resolution committee does not recommend. So it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes all the ones we're always good at, all the new ones that we all think we should go on, and all the ones that we're like, no, thank you. So we all get a chance to talk, say our piece. It's very formal, and it's probably going to take a very long time. I think last year they said it took 8 hours of everybody being on a Zoom call. So I'm really looking forward to it. But part of the reason why they sent an orientation and they had a go ahead beforehand is to try to like answer these questions ahead of time. I'm clearing my calendar. It's going to be great. I want the board to know that for the most part, I took my Sunday and I went through these, and for the most part, I agree with how the resolution is, or the resolutions committee is going to be voting, both in the recommended positions and the do not recommend position. It will not shock you to hear that there is one proposition or proposal that I feel like I don't agree with, but this is the one on electric buses. They are proposing that it's resolution 10. It is public knowledge, I believe. I know I sent it to y'all.
These are, yeah, it's a public document.
Yeah.
Anyone can see
The
it.
Voting Delegates Guide to Proposed Regulations is a public document. Anyone can Google it, presumably, if you can manage the bureaucracy of that website. But it's there, and they, for their proposal, their rationale is there. A lot of it comes down to a concern about money. I feel very strongly that we need to be leaders in this area and really push hard to make this a priority for the state. And if we kick this down the road, it's not going to get better. We're just giving opportunities to delay the inevitable. This has always been something of mine, but I open it to the floor for y'all to discuss, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk about it. I feel pretty strongly about it, but I know that most people will vote for it because that's how this usually goes.
And the resolution says, basically,
Yeah.
it's so, just so everybody knows, right now, there's the law on the books around electric buses is by 2035, you have to have a fully electrified bus fleet, every school district in New York State.
Right.
That's the rule. The NISBA resolution, which factually, most of the other education conference board folks also oppose the mandate of 2035 just because practically we're not sure how we would do it. That's the reason why they say, we should push it out. But that's the resolution, is to get rid of the 2035 mandate.
Well, the resolution is technically to change it to make, to accept hybrids as the alternative.
So there's
This permits
It permits
hybrid
hybrids.
That's
to
what
be,
it is? Okay,
like, there's a certain point where you can't acquire
Yeah, I thought it was 28, right?
a
No,
fossil
it's
fuel
35.
bus.
No, it's 35.
It's 35.
So this is allowing you to do so as long as it's a hybrid.
hybrid. Got
As
it.
long as it's
Okay.
a hybrid.
Because you can still have a diesel bus in 35 if it's a brand new when you bought it in 34, right?
Now,
I think there's a date before 35 that you can't purchase.
yeah.
27.
I would say it's 28 or 26.
27, but
other
the government
thing-
can push it out to 28 if she wants to.
The other thing about these is they're not legislation, and they're not, I really appreciated this about the particular conversation beforehand, is that none of these, and I think his name was Fessler? Brian
He's the
Fessler?
executive.
He's the
director.
executive that talked a lot about, none of this is legislation that with legislation, you have to be really particular about the wording. All of these are really positions that the board members are taking. And so you can be a little bit more loose about the wording. We're not necessarily being held to task about the particular wording. And that's kind of why I am in opposition to it. And also the DEI committee had no position on this, which struck me as very strange because the link between climate change and equity is so highly correlated. Is when climate change disproportionately affects people who are in lower socioeconomic class. It will more impact people who have to take buses. Like, to me, it felt very strange that the DEI committee would not have a position on this, based on everything that I know about electric buses and diesel and what we know. Regardless, I felt very strongly about it, but I did not want to vote and surprise you. And speaking, Mr. Cornell, you made a good point that I shouldn't just do stuff out of pocket, as you were. So I want to give you.
I have two opinions on this. One I think you'll
Let's hear
like,
it.
and one you might not.
I live that life every day.
I agree with you. I do not think we should support this.
Oh,
It's for a slightly different reason.
let's hear it.
So I think the legislation is flawed, and I don't think it's something that can be executed. And I think this is a Band-Aid on that. I think they need to rethink how they move school bus fleets to, more carbon-friendly position. And I think that needs to be a holistic look. I think this is just one part of it, and I think it distracts from what I think their legislation would be, which should be, they should be advocating for an executable plan towards the end goal, which is to include funding, which is to include sort of staging this in a little more thoughtful way. I think the legislation that gets there, I think the end goal is aspirational and great, but I think the legislation does not position school districts to be able to do it.
I think if you don't have that goal, it's easy to just say, oh, well, we don't have that goal, so we don't actually have to move on it. I think you have to have that goal to get people's fires burning, not to make like a cold.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be a
But-
goal, I'm just saying what's there now is not achievable.
It feels a little force-fed. I agree, but we're not really talking about Fisher at all, right? I mean, the bus service, they own the buses, right? Fisher owns the
Right, but
buses.
they have to
The
do-
district does, we don't own
They
a
want-
single bus.
Our business, they have to comply with the law.
Right, and
But
they are
so
making changes.
But the
to
requirement
comply with the
isn't,
law.
so it would be for Fisher to step up and make the purchases over time, and then the school district would just continue to have a contract with them and give them money. But technically, are they saying that the district has to own the buses? They're not.
No.
Okay,
no.
so it's really, doesn't Fisher have an opinion one way or another on whether they want to get into the electric bus
So
service?
they are,
Yeah, and they're adjusting to it.
Yeah,
And that's the thing, is if we keep the goal, we can basically say, these are the goals that you made us, and we can't reach them unless it becomes leverage. And that's kind of why it's important to me, is if they're gonna set these strong goals, then we can basically use it as leverage to say, if you want us to achieve it, you gotta give us the money to do it.
Well, I agree with that, but it's gotta be attainable.
That's the statement.
But also, if you increase landmarks, or Fisher landmarks, cost, they're gonna pass along to us.
It'll cost us a boatload of money at some point.
It will.
Right, exactly.
There's no question about that. It'll cost us a lot of money. It's gonna cost everybody a lot of money. The question is, what's the carrot and what's the stick, which is the point that you guys are making. And then the other open question is, the state makes lots of rules, the state doesn't always fund their rules.
Right.
So will
Exactly.
the state fund the rule?
Well,
Is the other
And
piece.
that's
your
what I
point-
think they should be fighting for. That's what I think NYSBA should be fighting for.
I do too.
Not one little Band-Aid on
Well, the very next.
the exception.
I don't know if it's the very next one. Somewhere in there, they talk about refunding state aid. To your point, 100%, we need to adjust the way that state aid is calculated, I think is the correct word. And I think that's the sort of thing that we need to be pushing for. I don't necessarily want to weaken one goal. Given the state of how important this is and how essential it is to be able to achieve such an important target that doesn't just affect one area, it affects the entire state, it affects the entire country, and it requires so many large-scale changes to everything. You have to keep goals and pressure. You can't be weak-willed on it. You have to say, fine, you're setting this goal, you need to adjust the state aid for it. You have to allow for this, and you have to keep the pressure. If you
Right.
even allow for a little bit of, well, could you just like adjust this? Then you're just allowing for everybody to say, I could just kick this can down the road, but it wouldn't it be great if we had this, that, or the other thing? Or
We're saying the same thing. So how about this?
Yeah.
Does anybody on the board object to Mary not voting in favor of NISBA's position and saying no on this one?
for what it's worth, I feel like most people are going, I don't think I will make a difference, but.
I bet you this one's, I don't know, I bet you this one's gonna be more, a closer vote than you think.
You know, I talk to our friends, when I'm at the Erie County School Board Association all the time. I talk to our friends at Lake Shore, they have 22 buses that they got with a NYSERD grant, because of the Indian reservations on there, included in there. They love them. But when you got 22 buses, you know, the infrastructure can't handle much more. You know, they're gonna have to obviously do that improvement, you know,
Yeah,
so.
you get a little.
So the cost, you know, a diesel bus costs $275,000, electric bus is $400,000. They weigh more. You know, you drive an electric bus down in Falius Hill during the winter, you know, then it weighs 8,000 pounds more. You know, so there is a lot of other things to consider. But no, I don't object because I think that, you know, you're gonna,
I think you get to vote your conscience on this one.
yeah.
There you go.
Well, what do you know?
That was easy.
Can I bring up another resolution that I
Yeah,
would
you
like
may.
to not vote with the majority?
Sure, certainly.
It's the, I'm gonna regret this. It's the, supporting the funding for technology and related expenses for smartphone regulation policies, whether pursued by districts voluntarily or mandated by the state.
All right, let's hear it.
So the resolution is to give us money to fund whatever we have to do to ban them if we wanted to,
Correct.
or if we're required to.
Yeah, resolutions that give you money usually come with you doing what they want, which would suggest that they're leaning towards a statewide ban, which I think removes control from the local school districts, which we may someday do a ban, we may not. I would like the ability for Hamburg to retain that control.
You would like me to vote to oppose the
And I
ban?
would- I would
Or
oppose-
the resolution?
Funding because it comes with strings, in my opinion. It's likely to come with strings.
I agree with Cam. Because I'm a hard no on any cell phone ban, so I'll agree with Cam.
Ooh, but I'm not against a ban, but I'm for finding out more about what the people want in terms of a regulation. Ooh, that's tough. Well played, sir.
So the wording on it is that if we're forced into it, we can get funding. But you feel that, I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, that's more
You
or
feel
less.
that if we support the funding, we're essentially agreeing to,
I'm scared of
supporting
how
the ban?
scared of how it gets implemented. In that there will be funding provided you.
okay,
For
I
the
just
ban.
want to make sure, because like, I'm not against getting money if it's,
Yeah.
Or there is new money and now there's a ban, right? Hey, everyone gets more money, but cell phones are banned in schools, which I'm not here to say whether that's a good or bad idea.
right now, I know we're not debating that.
I'm just saying,
Fair point.
I think it's our responsibility to determine that, not the state.
I'll also just say, just generally, not on the question of whether or not we do a cell phone ban or not, I think I've said my piece there, but when the state says we'll give you money, it's almost never 100% of the money. So, you know, that's the thing. Like, I would never say, oh, it's gonna cost us, you know, $112,000 to do X, and you're gonna get maybe 30 cents on the dollar. And that's basically what the foundation aid formula does. It assigns a portion of the cost of just about everything we do. So whatever it is they say they're going to give us, assume it's 30, maybe 50 cents on the dollar. That's the
My other sort of point about this, my general thoughts on these resolutions is NISBA bites off more than they can chew. They're a very lean organization. Everything they do, like pursuing this means they're pursuing something else a little bit less, right? This is all an opportunity cost. I'd rather they focus on their core issues. I feel like right now this is a distraction for them. And if we can help them focus on what I think are more valuable endeavors, then I support that.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, because again, this is really just a way of goal setting. The resolutions aren't legislation, right?
Right, but they lobby. They spend their resources in making this happen. They don't just state it. They
Right.
go and they talk to people and they grease wheels to get what they want.
Right, but this is essentially a very fancy, convoluted poll of the districts. What are y'all passionate about? So, right, like, so this is, and it attempts to be an informed poll. So that's why they have a special DEI committee that says, okay, just look at these resolutions from this lens, and the resolution committee that says, okay, you can look at it from a slightly broader lens. So I don't necessarily, it's not up to us to decide the priority. Like, we don't have any
Well, it
influence
is.
on
If
the
it doesn't
priority.
pass, it's not a priority.
But it's,
And there's
it's
not
a binary.
grades. There's not grades to these, right? Like,
Right.
if they're
Well,
signing up for this as their resolution, then they shall do it.
But my point is that we don't pick the priority that it gets legislated to. Like, whether something gets voted on by all 200 yays and 0 nays, or it just passes by, you know, a slim margin, that doesn't determine what NISBA decides to lobby more or
Right.
less of.
I understand that.
So I would argue that this, we don't,
Well, unless it gets voted down. If it gets 101
yeah,
nays.
if it gets voted down,
then it gets
it's not.
zero
on the
attention
thing.
from
So-
NISBA, and that's what I would like to see this get, is zero
Wow,
attention.
you feel
Until
very
next year.
strongly about that.
Right? I mean, they can keep putting it in front of us.
Someone else can put another resolution for another school, cell phone related issue, and maybe we'll
Okay.
like that one, or maybe
Right.
we won't.
Right.
I don't know. We could put forth a resolution if we felt strongly about something.
Believe me, there are some
But
resolutions
this
in
is
there
not the
are
one
some
that I
doozies.
would, this is not the one I would champion. Having said that, I mean,
Okay,
I don't, I think
well,
we've probably spent a disproportionate amount of time on this, but
I certainly was concerned about that, but I do think it was, I hope that you felt like that was useful, because I thought it was, just reading it was convoluted, and it felt helpful to me to make,
it's good. I mean, I read these every year. They are important to a degree, right?
Yeah.
But even when they pass, that
Even
doesn't
when they pass,
necessarily
yeah,
mean anything, right?
it is sort of just shouting.
So where did we land on the cell phone?
What did we
one?
decide?
Are you gonna support
Well-
that one or no?
Can I take a poll? Can I get a temperature check of the people? Because my intention was to vote with, you are against, can I
Say
get?
no.
I would say no.
I would say no.
I mean, I was, on my limited knowledge of the proposal, I was saying yes, because I'm always in favor of having money towards something we may be mandated to do.
Okay. Noted.
We're not gonna check the notes. You vote how you need to
Yeah.
vote, right?
Yeah, you know. Hold 2 feet to the fire.
All right,
All right.
well,
Any other items on
that
that
is
list?
what I wanted to share. I appreciate your time.
Nice
Thank
job.
you, Mary. Very,
Nice job.
very good job.
Nice visual.
Yeah, I thought she did do a.
I didn't realize you made the infographic.
Yeah,
Until just
that
now.
I did.
I thought
That's-
Ms.
It's
Wiggins-
beautiful.
That was very impressive.
Thanks.
She's gonna give it to
The
Ms.
power of free Canva.
This
You
is
should-
gonna be,
you should sell
this
it
is
to
gonna
them.
be in next year's packet. They're gonna use that.
You better get your name.
All right. All
Yeah,
right,
sure.
reserved.
All right, let's move to, item E, report from our superintendent, Mr. Cornell.
So let's do D.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip
First.
that?
Yep,
Oh,
it's
you're,
okay.
sorry.
Yep,
It's
that's all right.
yellow, yep.
I don't want to leave our high school friends hanging. So we're gonna celebrate. So first of all, you know, John, Molly, Kelly do an amazing job. New team forming at the high school. Every time I'm there, the tone's great. Like it's just an awesome place to be all the time. Amazing kids, amazing teachers doing great stuff. But leadership matters, and John and Molly and Kelly are doing a great job. So thank you to you guys for everything you do every day. So I wanted to make sure I didn't miss an opportunity to say that. And then we're gonna recognize some kids doing like awesome stuff. The kids are here, families are here, so I'm gonna turn it over to John and Molly and Kelly, and they're gonna talk about our kids doing great stuff.
Right. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of Molly Hansley and Kelly Mason, our assistant principals, I'm John Krangle, principal of the high school. Also like to thank Officer Blaze, who is here at the high school with us. So we do want to recognize some students, and naturally, I think it just goes without saying, it's the actions in which we do each and every day that the high school not only tries to align with the vision and the mission, but just who we are fundamentally, right? Our focus for the year. And that focus for the year is discussed throughout the entire year with our core team reps, our department leaders, all stakeholders involved. And we felt that it was just really important to just take a moment to recognize and establish the fact that, at our foundation, we demonstrate love through connections, we demonstrate love through relationships, and we really try to inspire our graduates to be just more thoughtful, loving human beings and citizens. As simple as that, right? And to be able to take a few moments today to highlight some of those students that might be lesser known achievements, but still achievements that are of great recognition, is something that both Kelly and Molly and I are extremely proud to do tonight. So if Colden and Jacob can join us up here for a few moments. All right. This is a good spot here, right? Okay. Actually, you know what? We're gonna stand over this way. Right, we're not at home watching this.
Yeah,
all
we
right?
want the folks at home to get a good look.
Yeah, we want to make sure you can stand to the left of me. It's probably even better. Okay, there you are. All right, so since 1955, the National Merit Scholarship existed and exists. In order to apply for this, it takes the time, it takes the commitment, and you are recognized through your skill, you're recognized through your academic achievements, and you're recognized through your school community. We not only have one, but we have 2 students at Hamburg High School that are being recognized nationally through this merit scholarship. And again, most people may not even know this scholarship exists. The fact that these students, again, took the time to do this, had the wherewithal to do it, had the trust in themselves, the trust in their colleagues, and even more importantly, the trust within the educators that got them to this point, says just a lot about who we are as people again. So we wanted to take a moment, congratulate you on your achievements. Thank you for representing Hamburg High School and just being good, kind citizens with academic achievements, and at the end of the day, just achievements of representing who we are as a school community. So thank you very much. We have 4 students that are being recognized for the New York State School Music Association Conference, or NISMA, not to be confused with NISBA, right? So 2 of those 4 students are here tonight. We're recognizing Jordan, Margaret, Gwen, and Olivia, but if our 2 students that are here tonight can join us up top, that'd be great. Come on up, girls. Off of anything, but I'm going to tonight because the achievements in which these students have performed is actually it's too lengthy to really memorize, right? So Jordan and Olivia are both violinists that were selected to the symphony orchestra. Margaret plays the bass clarinet and was selected to the symphonic band. Gwen is a vocalist and was selected to the chorus. These students will be performing at the Eastman Theater, which is in Rochester, and in order to do this, they had a solo audition, correct? Right? A solo audition. And the NISMA conference that will be taking place in December in Rochester is the equivalent of your state finals. And these are students that are represented from every high school throughout New York State, and the achievements, again, and the commitment that it takes, and their love of music. And again, that love of music, and when I was talking with the students earlier and inviting them to come tonight, one of the common themes was that they got that love of music early on through the Hamburg schools. And it sustained through middle school, throughout the high school. And again, that's just the school community. So again, these may be lesser known achievements, but they're still achievements that are of utmost importance. So thank you for, again, representing just a well-rounded school community of Hamburg High School. Congratulations. We would like to highlight our freshman seminar. So in conversations with our high school staff, conversations with our assistant principals, and in the support of our administrative offices, we wanted to do something that was unique to the high school. And the idea of freshman seminar came about. Now, there are some schools, not many, some schools that have an idea of a freshman seminar. This is a course that every single ninth grade student takes at the high school. It is unique to Hamburg High School. Yes, you're going to learn study skills, you're going to have supports within reading, supports within writing, but even more importantly, you're going to meet people that are going to have a large impact and role in their life, whether that's Officer Blaze, whether that's the Library Media Center, whether that's our school counselors, and it's really a way for our students to not just be successful high school students, but just successful people here within the Hamburg school community. And there was no better person to teach this course for this year than someone who is a Hamburg alum, who is a Hamburg parent, and is a Hamburg teacher. And in my 19 years here at Hamburg, most of those years have been working alongside Becky Narabeski. And I'd like to introduce Becky, thank her for the time and commitment that she has to put this course and to put a really unique and individual touch specifically on what it means to be successful at Hamburg High School and in our community. I know I keep saying it over and over. I'm probably going to say that word community so many times, but it's really the fabric of who we are, right? And part of this course also incorporates the history of Hamburg and the history of Hamburg High School in the community in which we exist. So with Becky's time, with Becky's commitment and her communication, we really feel that this is a launching pad for success and just an added support. So I'd like to introduce Becky, talk a little bit about our freshman seminar here at the high school.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm just coming out of the TOSA position, which was instructional coaching. So I come back to the classroom with a very different perspective than when I had left. And one of the things we spent a lot of time on was teaching teachers and trying to get teachers to, instead of the focus that we've had for so many years on Regents exams and getting all the curriculum in, to taking the bigger picture of we're creating not just a Regents student, but we're creating human beings that are going to go out and hopefully be thoughtful, productive citizens in society. And one of the statistics that has really kind of hit me pretty hard was that only 42% of jobs by the year 2031 will require a bachelor's degree. So you're looking at 59% of jobs that kids will not have to have a college degree for. So what does that mean for us? That means we're getting ready, we're getting kids prepared to walk right out and get a job right out of high school that could potentially be their career for the rest of their lives, or to go off to university and do great things. Either way, kids are going to leave us and we want to prepare them as well as we can. So, thank you. My goals. Number one is finding your passion. One thing I was very blessed in my life is I stumbled into, and I literally mean I stumbled into it. But I fell in love with it, and it is my passion. The whole time we were in instructional coaching, I used to say, oh, I just want to go back to the classroom. I just need to go back to the classroom. So I am so blessed to have that passion of wanting to be with kids. And I want to help them find their passion. And the other thing is the 21st century skills, which it's a lot of the soft skills that have kind of gone by the wayside because we've been focusing so much on academics. And I want to help them choose a path. So how am I doing this? Well, this is my plan. And I have a senior right now and a sophomore here. And in my many conversations with them, they do not really have an idea of what they want to do. They've done a little research in some of their classes. They've tried to figure it out, but they haven't done like any sort of extensive idea of what they wanted. So I started with them creating a vision board and of what they want their life to be. And then we calculated monetarily how much that's going to cost. and they were shocked. They couldn't believe how much money life is going to cost them. And I threw them bones, okay? I simplified it for them. And then today we did a career interest survey, and we're going to start looking at careers, and they're going to research careers. They're going to do 3, 1 from their interest survey at least, and then 2 others. And then after we do that, Pat Worth is coming in, and we're going to create a future career. Because another quote that I didn't put on there is 27% of these kids are going to actually have to create their careers. So we're at a point where our kids graduating, we don't know what they're going to work in because there's so many jobs popping up daily. So we're going to have them create a career, and we're going to pop it into AI and see what AI says about it. And then we are going to do Career Survivor. We're going to see which careers they think will survive 10, 15 years down the road. So we're going to battle it out in the classroom. All of this plus lots of other things. We're going to do, of course, our study skills. We're going to do all this stuff, but the point of me doing this is by the end of 9th grade, they have to choose. Do they want to do Academy of Finance? Do they want to do Health Science Academy? They have to know that by the end of 9th grade. If they're not doing this stuff as a preliminary to choosing those things, how do they know? You know? We also offer so much in criminal justice. We have so many different courses that they can take, but if they don't know what they want, they don't know what to take. So that was my whole goal. I have one more. Thank you. And like I said, 2 things I really want to do with them: help them create their educational plan, what they're going to take through high school. And number 2, help develop those soft skills, those 21st century skills. The other part of my class is it's totally paperless. Woohoo, saving trees. But then somebody's like, but they have to still plug in and charge. I'm like, oh. But anyway, and my goal is just to make kids really think about where they want to be down the road and help them to be better communicators, better collaborators, so that in the rest of their high school career, they're really preparing for when they leave here. Yes.
How does a student know, as someone who has a freshman next year, how does a student know to participate in this? How do you pick them up?
They're scheduled. They have to take.
So every
freshman.
9th grader takes this? Okay.
Every
I
night
have
basically,
247.
it's similar to that of a science lab. So on a 4-day
Okay,
cycle.
I didn't
for
realize
high
this
school.
was a mandatory. Okay,
It's a
that's
mandate.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Thank you, Becky.
So, thank you.
But it's mandated, every freshman takes it, similar to the science lab, once every 4 days on a 4-day cycle. And again, it's an added support to what we're doing here at the high school.
There's more.
In our conclusion, we do want to highlight a number of things we've done here at the high school, especially this past week. Emma hit on that a little bit earlier. We had a very busy and very eventful last week with our homecoming. That's the outdoor pep rally in which everyone was in purple and white. That was our dance. It was our event. It was the football game. It was the parade. And we have a number of photos here that show just the idea of making this a celebratory, all-inclusive event. And as we go through the photos, one of the things I really did look to highlight was the event in dance itself. So about 3 years ago, so we have every year, we have our Purple and White Day, in which every class celebrates their class t-shirts, and this year for the first time that I remember in my at least 19 years here, the staff decided to participate, and I believe we sold 114 staff shirts. And not all 114 may be in this photo, but to have the involvement of the school itself, and again, there's that word community, it just means so much to who we are. And that was part of our Spirit Week, the outdoor pep rally, the fact that we had so many of our seniors, they might have earlier work release that could have chosen to leave, and the number of students that actually chose to stay to be a part of this pep rally at the end of the day is important to us. The parade, the football game, having the events from the cheerleading to the marching band, and our event. About 3 years ago, we changed the format from a dance to an event. And what does that really mean? Well, that means that in the past, you would have music in the gym, and it would be a dance. Well, now, 3 years running, we have cornhole in the cafeteria. We have a movie in the auditorium. We have coloring stations. We have a photo booth. We have video games. We have electronics. And the idea is to make this as inclusive as we possibly can. So if someone might not feel super comfortable spending 3 hours in a gym, but maybe an hour in the gym and a half hour coloring and an hour eating snacks in the cafeteria, the more inclusive that we can make it, the more involvement we can have. And for the third year in a row, we broke over 600. I believe we sold 656 total tickets. And that is roughly a little larger than about 2/3 of the student population, right? And I remember years ago saying, if we can at least get half of the students here, that's a great win. And now we're saying consistently 3 years in a row that we're getting 2/3 of our student population that are choosing to come here, not from 7 to 3, but choosing to come here on a Saturday evening to celebrate the school together. And to us, that's really what it's all about. So with that, we'd like to, again, Officer Blaze stepped out. With his support, he's here at every single one of our events. And with Kelly, Molly, myself, we thank you for allowing us to do what we love every single day. Thank you, Emma, for all your help throughout. Emma and I communicated quite frequently over the last week, and it'll just maintain that frequency moving forward. So thank you very much. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Kringle. So I guess at this point, we'll do our capital project update.
What are we doing tonight? Apologize, my voice, I got a little bit of a cold. Quick update from the reports that we have in front of everybody on the board. No new major project issues, service report. We're really just whittling away here at things we can get done before next summer for the big lift of the heating system flipped over at the school. Couple scheduling items coming up. You can see on the second box down that we have some new dates for the odds wrapping up. That's largely centered around the lighting components coming in and now finally getting installed, some aisle lighting, and specifically for the Charlotte Auditorium, we now have the full theatrical lighting system that is beginning to be put up in the ceilings and the equipment installed.
Is that open yet? Can they use it yet?
Charlotte is not.
Not yet.
We're targeting 2 to 3 weeks from now.
Okay.
To be wrapping up. The classroom dates you see on there as well associated with the elementary schools are basically being driven by the cabinets showing up. So a lot of these spaces are being used, but in terms of being completely finished with cabinets and all, those projected dates there are where we're looking at. Moving down just towards the finances, briefly overviewing it. Phase 1 is all wrapped up. Effectively, phase 2, you can see the contract value continues to hover around that $22.5–23 million range, with an all-in committed cost of roughly $29 million on phase 2. That has not moved much month to month. That would be largely because if you keep on moving down to change management, this number has also held pretty firm as we've moved along here. We have not committed to any formal change orders yet, including this month. That will likely change based on some work we've added to the project by request next month. There'll be a couple of those large changes coming through for metal casework being installed in various high school classrooms that we added on, and a few other upgrades. Moving over to the photos that we have to show. So the first slide is here on the top is the high school stage, which I'm happy to report is complete. That emergency project to redo the entire ring system, upgrade it structurally, get all the new curtains and lights up is now done. So picture on the left was a couple weeks ago, the lighting getting completed and up after the rigging was completed. Picture on the right was all the curtains being hung as pretty much the last finish to go on that stage.
Including like the whole back is painted, the stage floor, like literally it's better than it was when it was new.
You can't recognize
And
that
never
space from a year ago.
It was just amazing to look at that, when we saw everything.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
Yeah, they did a great job and, took a little opportunity from a challenge and it's literally better than new.
Continuing on with the photos, so the bottom left there is a room down in the basement of this high school that is where the new pump, we're called the new pump room, is going to be set up. That is going to power, pushing out the glycol water to this whole building for heating. You're going from a 2-pump system to a 12-pump system. So it's a massive upgrade. Bottom right is that new metal casework I alluded to that was added into the project. This is going into 13 rooms in the 140, 240 wing. 3 rooms are complete. They'll be continuing on through there, roughly 1 room every 2 nights through October and into probably the first week or so in November before all 13 rooms are complete, working on second shift. This is exclusively the Charlotte Aud, so the top pictures are basically from a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, showing that the painting was done, all the panels were complete. The epoxy flooring was also painted down. And then this past week, the seating folks came in from out of town and got all the seats installed. Like I said, now this week we are completing overhead lighting on the stage and behind and in front of the seats for the new theatrical system. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, you'll see the carpet go down along with auto lighting to wrap up that space. And then these are some pictures that are largely carryovers, but the Armor Tinker Tank on the top left there, complete outside of punch list work. You're looking at the Boston Valley Art Room as well, the top right. Or, excuse me, that's Charlotte Art Room, top right. No, that's Armor, I'm sorry. I'm going right through the gauntlets. Armor's Art Room on the top right. Again, that room is going to be wrapping up soon. One of the things we have on our material list on the report is the serpentine lighting, which is going up in all the 3 art rooms, is arriving this week. It didn't show up today, but we're hoping tomorrow, Thursday. So those rooms will be wrapping up in terms of lighting and the cabinets as a final piece. The bottom 2 pictures are the Boston Valley Art Room, which is in a similar shape to the other ones, which is just sitting waiting for the cabinet's arrival essentially to wrap up. General schedule overview. So again, phase 1 closed out, submitting final cost reports. Phase 2, those are the updated substantial completion dates by school, effectively again, caveat being that asterisk drive it being driven out by when all our cabinets will arrive, so completing those spaces in its entirety with the cabinets. Overall, again, targeting next September for the completion of the referendum, this phase of it, excuse me, at the high school. And then we'll be closing out towards the end of next calendar year with a final cost report December of next year as well. Phase 3, we're in the design period. We're moving into the design, the second set of drawings effectively. We've gone through the schematic review, and the more detailed drawings are now in the works, with a goal towards getting those submitted to the SED for review and having this bid period fall of next year. This would focus on the Union Pleasant Elementary School upgrades. And then lastly, this is looking even further out over a broad schedule for the next referendum, the next project that will take shape. Building condition surveys will be starting in the spring this coming year, targeting a vote date of the fall 26 and 28, 29 board meeting. That will involve that middle school pool most likely, along with some other selected scopes of work as we get through the process.
Just going back to phase 3, I'm just gonna say this out loud because I don't want to forget. Just sometime in the next probably month and a half or so, let's try to do get our board facilities committee together and just have a chat about where we are.
We're trending towards November, early November.
Okay, so you're already
Yep.
on it? Okay, cool, thank you.
Any questions?
That's good.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Now I think it's our update from Mr. Cornell.
Yep.
Sorry, I jumped the gunner.
Yep, that's all right. I'll be relatively quick. So just to the foundation aid conversation, I'll be in Albany in November. I chair the New York State Council of School Superintendents Legislative Committee. And usually in November, on the Friday that we're there, we meet with the governor's Deputy Secretary for Education and other members of the governor's staff. And to Cam's point, we keep the agenda tight, and the conversation is going to be largely foundation aid and the Rockefeller Institute report. And we've had a kick at the can already in the summer. We were with Robert Magna, who's actually the person writing the report for the Rockefeller Institute. So we'll get another opportunity to talk to the Rockefeller Institute and the governor's staff. So, the state organization is on that is on the case there. Two, let's see, we had our regional mental health collaborative that met last week. Colleen, Nicole Dacre, Tina Lemondola, and I attended that. So we continue to do that work. We're reshaping the way we're doing it. We're bringing more partners in, and hopefully over time, as I've said many times, it will really change the way we support the mental and emotional health of kids in our whole community. It's a county-wide initiative that our superintendent's organization in the county started in 2022. Bless you. Wall of Fame dinner was the other night, so just want to give credit to the Alumni Foundation. They're an amazing group of people. They do a ton of work for the school district. They give the school district a ton of money. The Wall of Fame dinner was amazing. Laura Heater from the board was there. Colleen plans it with the committee, but I think Colleen plans it, which it's kind of
It's a committee.
it's kind of how that goes. But
Everybody knows.
yeah. Just a couple of things not related to me. So Adrian Gray, one of our seniors, wrote a song about suicide prevention for Suicide Prevention Month. He wrote it as part of his BOCES program. He was recognized at a Suicide Prevention Month event in the city of Buffalo. The Deputy County Executive, Lisa Shamera, who former teacher, we worked together in Kenmore for a bunch of years. She was there and highlighted his work. He's on the front page of the Sun. Is it this week or last Friday? So it's here. So awesome work by Adrian. So if you see him, tell him congratulations. I got to go seek him out at school this week. And then I was did a little bit of talk about regionalization. That's a word that brings with it a lot of assumptions. And I think regionalization, just to kind of take the edge off a bit, now it's not to minimize the amount of data that we have to give them right now. We're in like data purgatory, just trying to feed the state a whole bunch of stuff in a 42-page survey. But at the end of the day, just as I talk to people in Albany, it's a lot more likely to look like our SMART collaborative working together on a topic like mental health for kids or something like that, than it's ever going to be like, okay, we're going to require these two school districts up in the North Country to merge. Because the challenges with doing that are so much more complex than people appreciate. Like I sat at dinner over the summer with the superintendent from Malone and Salmon River, which are neighboring school districts. They each have maybe 300 kids in them, but their school districts are so geographically huge that actually trying to merge them is completely impractical. So, when you hear about regionalization, know that we're paying attention to it. Know we're giving the state whatever they need in terms of their own data dive, in terms of trying to figure out what it is they're going to do around regionalization. But at this point, I'd think about it a lot more in terms of what we're doing in terms of regional mental health than about combining school districts. I think that seems, they've incentivized that for 20 years with a boatload of money and still nobody wants to do it. So it seems unlikely to take that form, at least at this point, as we sit here today in 2024. But so just know that we're in constant communication with the state as superintendents. We're engaged in the conversation locally and at the state level, and and I'm sure like through NISBA and things like that that'll come up as well. But right now, I don't know anybody who thinks we're going to start consolidating school districts all over the state. So just so you have that kind of in your head as level setting in terms of the form that might ultimately take. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. So our next item, he's been avoiding us for 3 months.
I have.
For good reason.
The entry plan for our new superintendent, so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Adams.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. Thanks for saying. I realize that I represent an obstacle to some other decisions to be made by the board tonight. I will be efficient. I will hopefully have some substance to it, and realize that it's the start of a longer conversation. Based on the graphics the graphic that Mary made on Canva, the graphics that I saw from the high school, we're just gonna leave it at the title page. All right, we have no interest in competing with such, with the artistry and the content that they provided there. I've got the hard copies for you though, if you wish, and I'm sure that'll be posted as well. I am just tremendously honored to be here, among all of you in this room, whatever part you play within the district, whatever stakeholder group that you represent. And I am pledging to do my best and to work my hardest at being somebody who can help the work that this district has done so well for so long. I'm just going to go through a few things of how my entry plan is sort of laid out. Before that, just a congratulations to all those who've been honored today as well. Emma, you're leading a tremendous senior class. If you want some fun, be a principal of a middle school sometime with the windows open on a Wednesday afternoon and hear the noise that's coming from Howe Field as the entire high school is booming. I mean, it was a challenge for our 12-year-olds to pay attention to, and our staff and me. But it was just it does my middle school principal heart good to be part of that scene, to be part of a district like this. There's a song that I've been listening to a lot lately. It's from a band called Dawes. I just heard it this summer for the first time. And the song sort of typifies, not in terms of necessarily all of the lyrics of it, but the title does. How does an entry plan to become superintendent, how does that fit? And the name of the song is called It's a Little Bit of Everything. And it might change it to It's a Lot of Bit of Everything. But it is how do we ground that? How do we wrap ourselves around that? And I think that's where our vision comes in. It's often been said by me a lot, and I've thought about it a lot, the idea that we are a school district that has a vision that people can say. We educate modern learners who create, care, solve, and discover. The only piece that I would switch on that is I would put care first. We care, create, solve, and discover. We care so much about this place. We want our learners to care so much about this place. And I, in my incoming role, have to care about this place. And if I do my job right, if I care enough about this place, I'm going to reach out to every single stakeholder group and meet with as many people as possible and be able to carry their concerns with me and be able to hopefully be part of solutions, be part of discovering ways for us to grow even further than we already have through the work of everyone. So my entry plan, as you'll see, the hard copy version, is really based on taking a look at our three priorities as established in our strategic plan. We've got educational opportunities. We have communication and community also. And then we have our facilities, we have our budget, and we have our safety piece as well. And all those things need to be addressed through an entry plan. And my first step with it is becoming superintendent, is to work and talk with our superintendent, Mike Cornell, and it's also to meet with the Board of Education. So they're going to find emails tomorrow morning, which we have scheduled to be sent at a certain time, where I ask you individually if you'll meet me for a coffee sometime. That might be something that's hosted over at the middle school or somewhere else, but it's just a way to begin that relationship or to strengthen a relationship that's already there. So you get to know me better and vice versa. So that's a starting point with it. Another piece with this work of learning from Mike and getting to know our Board of Education even better is working with our assistant superintendents. The work that Colleen Caney and Brent Jordan do is incredible. Anybody who works within the district or is part of our district has good awareness of that already. But working with Colleen more to learn more about what happens in curriculum, and its director, Caitlin Sylvester, to work alongside Colleen and to learn about pupil services and the work that Jen Barker does as director of that group as well. And to work within, to understand the human resources piece. One thing that I've been able to do as part of my entry plan is I've been invited to be part of meetings where agendas are created for the board. And the list of things that happen within human resources each and every month, it was something that I could not have even conceived of. And the work that happens, the work that exists behind the scenes to make that happen is something that I'm becoming more and more aware of. Another item that another person that in terms of Brent's work that I would need to make sure that I understand is his role with technology, and his role with data, and his role with buildings and grounds, and his role with safety. There's a lot to the positions that each of them hold, and there's a lot of people connected with all of that work, and I need to become more well-versed in terms of that. I think I've got a good grasp of it, but I need a more thorough one as well. So that's working with Brent and Chief Fitzgerald about school safety and our plans there. It's working with Brent and with Joe and Shane in our buildings and grounds and the capital projects that we have going forward. It's also extending an invite, if Mike allows it, for me to reach out to perhaps Brandy Sutherland and to know the work that she does and how I can help support the work that she does already and how she certainly supports the work of the entire district as well. I can't forget about Christine and the work that she does in terms of budget. She's been gracious enough to meet with me and to prepare all sorts of information for me so I can learn the budget process. So I can be ready for that when we begin. Well, it never ends, but I can be more up to speed with that as we hit that during our during the winter and spring to come. Another group that I'm hoping will take my calls involve the Hamburg Teachers Association. And I'm really hoping that we can meet together, meet with Amy, meet with Matt, meet with Jody in terms of the middle school and all the folks who are leading not only the Hamburg Teachers Association, but all of our bargaining units as well. Understanding their roles and their concerns is paramount to what hopefully will be success for the district and my success as well. I need to take time to visit the other schools. Last year, I was able to spend a lot of time at the high school, in addition to middle school as athletic director. But now it's time to be focused on what goes on at the elementary schools too. I have awareness of it, but I need to live it. I need to attend events at each and every one of the schools. And I can't also forget that we have another school within our boundaries that I need to make connections with too, and that's St. Peter and Paul. I need to get to know the administration, the leadership over there, and to see how we support the work that they do in that relationship, which I know is a positive one. I need to hit up every school for yearbooks that have pictures of kids, yearbooks that have pictures of staff. I need to get that memorization down, just like I pride myself on at the middle school, because that's just terribly. To me, it's the start of so much. It's knowing people, it's calling them by name, and beginning to develop those relationships as well. On the political side, certainly town and village, huge priority there, but also with folks like Senator Galvin in his office, people like Representative Rivera in his office, and Legislator Gilmore as well, and more. And I'm sure I'm leaving some folks out, and please don't take that as a lack of importance placed upon it. Above all, I need to be present. All right, it's no secret that I don't live in Hamburg, but I want people to be like, did he move to Hamburg? Like, I want that sort of reaction out there, not because I'm trying to fake it, but because that's evidence of caring. You're not going to do that unless you really care. You're not going to do that because you feel like you have to. You're going to do that because you want to, and you want to demonstrate that each and every day. And that's what's going to help us create. That's what's going to help us solve. That's what's going to help us discover. We not only have, of course, the vision, which is our bedrock, but if you take a look at our strategic plan, we have our core values as well. And one of the things at a recent cabinet meeting that I was at and that Colleen really pointed to was that notion of being proud of our past and committed to our future. That comes from that ability to take a tremendous amount of pride in what Hamburg is and what it represents now, and what it represents to all those alumni who are at that dinner on Saturday night, and how powerful that is, and realize that pride in the past, we have a responsibility to create that for our kids of today. And even though it's not going to look the same, that pride in the past and that care are going to combine for us to be able to create the place that our kids can look back on 20 years, 30 years, 40 years down the line and just be awfully proud that they were Hamburg Bulldogs. And that's the type of ethos that I want to demonstrate each and every day. And that's what I'm hoping that I can support all of us in trying to reach. One last thing. We talk about how we adjust to change. We've got students within our buildings this year who 2 years ago probably wouldn't have thought that they were going to be walking through the halls of Hamburg. We've got students who are English as new language learners. We've got students who are in temporary housing within the district. The way in which our staff has made Hamburg a home for those students. And it's not just those students, this is for all students, but it's the example that I think really shows the rule. The idea that we've been able to work together and utilize all of those resources, and you think of the work that Nicole Dacre does in Family Support Center, and the work of the entire community to make these new students to us and new families to us feel welcome, that's the type of thing that you're not going to set up a program to replicate. That is something that comes from people's hearts, and that comes from people living the vision. So that's what I'm going to try to do throughout my entry plan. Be looking for those emails tomorrow. If you don't respond, I totally understand. I'll pester you a little bit for it, but I'm looking forward to it. That's like the reverse of hyperbole. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to get started. Not that I'm wishing Mike to go. It's going to be enjoyable for the next couple of months to learn from you. But anyway, that's what I got. Questions for me though, and I'll hand these out.
The care part is already coming through. Very well done.
Yeah,
All right.
for
Thank
sure.
you. Fumble right at the boss's desk. Thank you.
Easy to see why it was the perfect choice. Dave's idea. Oh, you have it. Dave's idea.
All right.
Everything good.
You're so humble.
Dave's idea.
Well, thank you to all of our speakers. I think at this point, we're getting down to the business here. So we will move to, not missing anything, right? We're
No,
moving
sir.
on to item F.
Yep, off we go.
So we'll work through the consent items. At this time, any board member can make a request to withdraw a specific item from the consent agenda for individual consideration. Is there any such request? Okay, seeing none, I will look for a motion to approve all consent items F2 through G4.
So moved.
So moved by Dave,
Second.
second by Ashley. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. So that's
If I'm-
F2 through G4, and I
If
assume
I'm-
Mr. Cornell would like to
I
acknowledge.
do,
these.
yes. So most importantly, so I'm heading off in retirement. Mr. Adams is gonna come and be the superintendent. And tonight we have Matt Lauer, who is a beloved educator in Clarence, who is gonna come and be the middle school principal here at Hamburg. So in the consent items, you approved his appointment. He's awesome and he's gonna be great, and he wants to say something.
Quickly, thank you. I can't say enough good things about the whole process. The interview process was fantastic. Everyone's been super welcoming. I'm unbelievably excited. I would have to say after Tom's entry plan and the high school's awesome presentation, I'm even more excited. So I can't wait to work with everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr.
What
Lauer.
did you bring with you today?
Oh.
A whole slew, 2 rows here. My wife Michaela, my daughter Fiona Piper, and then my son Beckett and Sullivan.
Well, welcome. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the community.
All right, thank you very much. So on to items H. First is the review of the code of conduct. I'm looking for a motion to approve the 2024-25 district code of conduct.
Did we miss G?
We approve them in
F and G
consent.
together.
Oh, that was through the consent, all right.
So moved.
So moved on H1, code of conduct. Second by Mary. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. H2, looking for a motion to approve the updated salary schedule for part-time and substitute personnel for the 2024-25 school year.
So moved.
So moved by Rich, second by Ashley. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item H3, looking for a motion to approve the letter of recommendations from Gordon W. Jones Association's architects on the reconstruction work for the 2024-25 capital outlay project, general work contract 153, awarding the bid to Graco Corp. Of upstate New York totaling $47,375.
So moved.
So moved by Ashley.
Second.
Second by Dave. And the question? Any questions? I do. So help me understand these capital outlay projects. I've understood them to be most beneficial when you get as close to 100 as possible.
Yes.
So how does this factor into that?
So the way it ended up working, you want to just jump in? I'll just let Brent do it. I'll mess it up. Go ahead.
So when we send out a bid, there's the base bid, and then there's alternate 1, 2, 3 that we.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Right. In this particular project, base bid came in at 47,000. To do alternate number 2 was an additional 47,000, which we don't have to do. But we've actually had a conversation with Graco to talk about, okay, what can we do to, because we're sequentially doing the rooms. We don't want to jump all over the building to do them. We want to kind of keep following that flow. To have a conversation with them about, okay, can we do the next few rooms? So we potentially will see a change order for the remaining amount that we can spend based on what we could work out with.
Which you can do provided you stay under the 100
Correct.
cap.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So we'll get as close to what we want to spend as we possibly can. We just have to go about it a different way because of the sequencing of the rooms.
Understood. Any other questions on this item? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item H4. Can I have a motion to approve the bid for a utility van as listed?
So moved.
So moved by Dave.
Second.
Second by Ashley. So this is a pre-owned Ram ProMaster 2500 high roof van.
Yes.
Doesn't have a lot of miles on it, or?
No.
Yeah,
Very
pretty good
low.
price for
Yeah.
one of those,
It
yeah.
is, yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item H5, can I have a motion to approve a contract between Hamburg Central School District and the Summit Center for consultation services? So moved by Mary. Second by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item H6, can I have a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between Hamburg Central School District and the Frontier Central School District regarding the EMT class?
So moved.
So moved by Rich,
Second.
second by Ashley. Any discussion?
Just to make the point, so for 30 years, Frontier has allowed, or we have allowed Frontier kids to attend our EMT class. That's another example of like regionalization, small R, that, you know, state ed would look at and say, hey, that's really good. That's what we want to see happen around the state. So we've done it for a long time. Chris Emrach, awesome job as the teacher in that program for a long time. So it just formalizes that.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Final motion H7, looking for a motion to approve an agreement between Hamburg Central School District and Elderwood Assisted Living to use Union Pleasant Elementary School and or Charlotte Avenue Elementary School as temporary shelters for staff and residents in case of emergency.
So moved.
So moved by Rich.
Second.
Second by Dave. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Last item on the agenda is public expression. We have one speaker tonight, so I'll just sort of read an abbreviated version of our guidelines here. Some topics are not permitted to be discussed in the public forum. Any topic related to an employee or implied to be related to an employee, special ed placements, individual student situations, etc. If the topic is inappropriate for the public forum, I will instruct you not to speak, but rather present your concerns in writing for the board's discussion in executive session. That said, I'm not concerned about this speaker doing that. Susan Biter, come on up.
Before I get to my remarks, which are related to the Hamburg School Music Boosters, I just want to put in a plug for the PTA's Buffalo Bills raffle, because I just checked and your chances are incredibly good for winning your tickets. We've only sold 37 chances so far. We're only going to sell 100 chances, so make sure you buy your chances. There's a week left in the fundraiser. Okay, now on to what I'm talking about. The Hamburg School Music Boosters would like to thank the Hamburg Central School District for the warm welcome our organization has received across the district. Your partnership in allowing us to promote membership in our organization at district back-to-school nights and open houses has resulted in 61 new members, as well as direct donation support. So thank you for that. While we continue to focus on our fall membership drive, Our executive board, which includes our board of directors and our 3 teacher representatives, will be meeting this week to plan other activities that serve our mission. Recently, our board of directors applied through the Community Foundation for Greater Buffalo for a $2,500 operating microgrant as part of the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation Arts and Culture Initiative. We will learn later this fall if we were selected to receive funds that will help us with our first and second year operating expenses. The Hamburg School Music Boosters would like to extend their congratulations as well to the student musicians, Jordan, Maggie, Olivia, and Gwen, who were recognized earlier tonight for their achievements in being selected to NISMA, all state ensembles that are going to be performing at Eastman later this fall. We would also like to thank the district for highlighting our student musicians recently on district social media. It is wonderful to see so much support for music education in our community, and we look forward to future collaborations that fulfill our mission to promote and support music education and music performance throughout the Hamburg Central School District. Thank you.
Okay, no further business. I'm seeking a motion to adjourn. So moved by everyone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.